I'm back for another episode of Fertility TV with all of you. And today's episode is about answering your fertility questions. That's right. That's what we're going to be doing today. And I'm super excited to do this because often I put a post on, or a story for that matter, on Instagram and asking all of you for your fertility questions so that I can answer them right then and there. But like usual, I got too many questions and I just wasn't able to answer them all. So I'm bringing them here for all of you so that I can answer the questions here. And I want to encourage all of you, please post your fertility questions down below in the comment section, and I'm going to do the best I can to answer those for you as well. If you're excited about this video, then please make sure to give me a like. And again, a reminder to leave a comment or a question down below. And if you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I want to make sure that you subscribe so that you get the best fertility tips to help you get pregnant faster. In case you are new here to Fertility TV, this is the place to be when you are trying to get pregnant, improve your health, and get to the root cause of your fertility struggles. That's right, the root cause. And I've been helping thousands of women improve their fertility and find out why they've been struggling over the last 20 years that I've been a fertility expert. And I've helped them find out the root cause so that they can be successful and get pregnant. And I know that that is possible for all of you as well. To make that journey or your journey a little bit easier, I have created a free guide that you can download right now to look at the 7 steps that are going to help you empower your fertility from home. That's right, from home. It's totally free. Download it right now. All you have to do is use the link in the description below. So the first question is actually a simple, straightforward question. Really straightforward. It says, Mark, supplements to improve egg quality. Really vague. Really general, right? Well, the first thing that I want to make sure of when we're talking, anytime we're talking about egg quality, and I do discuss this in plenty of videos, so if you haven't checked those out, please make sure to do so, is that not all fertility issues are egg quality issues. So I want to make sure that you are aware of that, right? We make this assumption because of everything that we read or based on our age or something that somebody told us that, hey, you're trying to get pregnant, make sure you improve your egg quality, that you've got the best egg quality possible. I'm not suggesting that you don't need the best egg quality possible, but I'm suggesting that not all fertility issues are specifically related to egg quality, even if you're a little bit older or what might be considered advanced maternal age. So that is step number 1. I want to make sure that you understand that you need to get to the root issue of your condition, which is what I always preach, and make sure that you are taking the right supplements for you. However, if you do feel like you need supplements to improve your egg quality, and you know this to be true, then I do have the best supplements for you. So recently we created, myself and my 3 partners, Amy Raup and Dr. Murphy, created a new fertility supplement line to do exactly that. It's called Rejuva. And there are 2 products that I would recommend. Well, we only have 3. One is for men, but the 2 products I would recommend for egg quality is called Rejuva Eggs and Rejuva Repair, which is going to get deeper into at the cellular level to support mitochondrial health and function, which is what we need to improve cellular health and ovarian health and egg quality. So those 2 products are something that you can check out. I'm going to leave that link down below for you as well to head on over. All right. Next question. This is also a bit general and vague, but I do think it's a really good question to understand and dive deeper into. Again, I do have some videos on this topic. She asks, what causes someone not to ovulate? So there are a lot of reasons that someone might not ovulate. And the first thing we have to look at are conditions. That's right, health-related conditions or hormonal-related conditions that might impact your ability to ovulate and hence have a regular normal cycle. So something that I hear often or get asked often is it normal for me to have a menstrual cycle and not ovulate? In general, the answer is no. You should still have a menstrual cycle and ovulate in most instances. Can it happen on occasion that you don't ovulate, but you do have a menstrual cycle? Absolutely. I think that in general, about once or twice a year, a woman might have some sort of irregular cycle that is outside of the norm for themselves. And we see that for various reasons. In that cycle, it might be that you have a later cycle, an earlier cycle, that you don't ovulate. So those things happen. I don't like to get caught up in a one-off situation. I like to look for patterns and trends and then support or address those areas. So if that's happening, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Is it common to skip ovulation or miss ovulation at some point in your, hormonal health or fertility health? Yes. Over time, as we get older, as women get older, absolutely, you can start to continue to menstruate, but skip or miss ovulations. And that does tend to happen. So we do need to be mindful of that as well. But overall, the main conditions that could contribute to not allow someone to ovulate is polycystic ovarian syndrome. That's very, very common when it's the most common endocrine disorder, but it's also very common to hinder you from ovulating. Hypothalamic amenorrhea, which means you're not menstruating. Amenorrhea means you're not menstruating. Hypothalamic amenorrhea means it's because of your hypothalamus. Amenorrhea in general would do that. And some other variables would be stress, big changes in your life, which could be considered a stress as well, but that can contribute to it. Lack of sleep, poor diet. These are all things that contribute and add more stress to somebody, and that can cause someone to not ovulate. If you're not ovulating regularly and consistently, that needs to be figured out. We need to look deeper at what's going on. We need to run some hormone tests. We need to get a good history of what's going on and really come up with a solid plan to support you to make that more regular and consistent for yourself. All right, this next question is a big one and has multiple parts with multiple questions. We're going to dive into it. Okay, so she asks, in which cases does it make sense to support IUI, intrauterine insemination, with medication, and when with which? Or maybe she was saying with which medication or when with not. I'm not quite sure. That's unclear. But then she asks, I'm asking because our doctor said she wasn't sure if she should or should not support as my cycle tends to be around 24 days. I also have endometriosis and low AMH, 0.13. Does progesterone help here after IUI? Okay, lots of things to talk about here. First and foremost, in which case does it make sense to support IUI with medication? In general, that is my preference. If someone's a bit hesitant about taking medication, then I would say if you're gonna go to IUI, you can try naturally with IUI for 1 to 2 or 3 times. And then if that's not working, then you can progress to medication from there. But in general, I think your better odds are going to be using medication in conjunction with insemination to give you the best chance of success. Now, she says her doctor's not sure if that's what she wants to do because of her cycle length. They tend to be 24 days, and 24 days is definitely on the short side. It's actually the lowest or the shortest I like to see, and we would like to see it about 4 days longer, at least 28 days, maybe even 30. But I don't think that in and of itself would be a reason not to use medication. I think in her situation with a 24-day cycle, we want to make sure she's ovulating. The medication would help and hopefully assure that. I mean, in most cases it does. Sometimes it doesn't, and would probably lengthen that cycle just a little bit. And so I think in this situation, it would actually make a lot of sense to use medication. The caveat here is the endometriosis. I think the endometriosis can be a reason why we are hesitant to use some of the medication, but if the endometriosis is not severe, it's being managed properly, or we have a plan for that, I would still use it. And I think as the first line of intervention when it comes to conventional fertility support and medication support, I think using medication in this situation with IUI is definitely warranted. Don't be surprised though, if when you use that medication, your AMH does not go back up, it goes down. I see that happen quite often. And to your last question about does progesterone help here after IUI, if you're using medication, I always think you should be also using progesterone on the backside as well, especially with the length of the cycle that you have. So yes, to almost all of your questions, and hopefully you have success soon on your journey. This next question is interesting. I don't hear this too often. So it says, what do you think of the 3-day water fast? Does it help with resetting hormones or in any way help for fertility? I am not a big fan of this sort of thing. I think if you want to do a 1-day fast where you're drinking and staying hydrated, that might be fine. 3 days I think is excessive and unnecessary. I think more importantly, just clean up your diet. Just focus on cleaning up your diet. And if you're going to do some sort of fast, please make sure that you are under the guidance and supervision of a healthcare provider who knows what they're doing and is confident in how they can support you in this journey. I think there's a lot of other ways that you can do this, and I'm not a fan of actually this sort of deprivation when it comes to nutrients and nutrition. So I would say, no, this would not be something that I would recommend. All right, moving on to the next one. It's a long one also. It says, do you have a video on adenomyosis? I do. I have been trying to conceive for 2 years. I'm 29 with low AMH and possible adenomyosis. In October, I started seeking fertility treatments. I've had blood work, HSG, and ultrasounds, and my doctor said I have low ovarian reserve. My AMH is 0.81, which is low for 29. Right? Like that's not what we want to see. I'm on cycle 2 of Clomid, and every time I go in for a scan or ultrasound, I see adenomyosis written on the papers that are sent to the doctors. Was wondering if this affects fertility and what I can do to get pregnant with these issues. Are there current vitamins I could be taking for this? Thank you so much for your videos. My pleasure, and thank you for watching my videos. So yes, adenomyosis can impact your fertility. It impacts implantation more specifically, and there are things that you can do, but I think we need to understand a little bit more. And I think you need to understand a little bit more. It doesn't sound like you've even had this conversation with your doctor about why it's written down and what it means. It's not super common to see this in a 29-year-old, so I would recommend having that conversation and getting confirmation. And if you are curious about it, then maybe even get a second opinion when it comes to adenomyosis. Now, I will say typically when I see this, someone is doing IVF, and so we're not worried about it until after they've had their egg retrieval, and then we focus on supporting uterine health and lining. So my first recommendation for you is going to be incorporate acupuncture, because we want to increase blood circulation to the pelvic area and the endometrium and uterus, and that will help to bring more nutrients to the area, more nourishment, reduce inflammation, which is what we want to see, and hopefully create a healthier uterine environment where adenomyosis is not there. I do think this needs to be addressed, but one of the things I really want to point, which is not a question you asked or point out, is about your AMH. Yes, it's low, but that's not the most important thing here. The most important thing is that you're focusing on egg quality and ovarian function. And AMH is not the most accurate test and doesn't always give us the best approach. So I don't want you to worry too much about the AMH. I do think we need to support your ovarian health, and I do think that you need to address the adenomyosis. But you can check out the other video for much more detail on this topic. So, all right, this next question is also an interesting one. We've got a lot of really good, interesting questions today, so I'm super excited to bring them to all of you. And as a reminder, if you've got questions of your own on your fertility, please go ahead and comment down below and put those questions there. I'm going to do the best I can to answer them. And if you've got any comments about the questions that I've already answered, please go ahead and do the same. All right, this one says, does night shift affect fertility? I understand sleep is important, and right now I average about 4 to 5 hours split into 2.5 hours in the AM and 2.5 hours at night before my shift starts. So the first thing that I'm going to say here is, yes, you're accurate. Sleep is super important. Actually, one of the more important things that you need to manage. And 2, you're not getting enough of it. If you're only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep in a 24-hour time period, it's not enough. Okay, you need to be at minimum 7. 6 is not even enough. Okay, so I prefer 8, but we will settle on 7 if we can get there. And your night shift is definitely impacting that. So first, irregular sleeping patterns can impact your hormones and fertility. Too little sleep will definitely impact them. And the night shift I routinely see impacts hormones, menstrual cycles, overall health, and fertility. So if we can get you off of that, that would be more ideal. I think that's actually super important and super valuable to do. And I'm going to tell you, I've had many stories, of women that I've supported who have not gotten enough sleep or have had irregular sleeping patterns. And once we corrected those, really shortly thereafter, they were able to conceive. So I want to let you know that, yes, it's important and it's possible to change it. And when you do change it, odds are you're going to get some good results as a result of that. So I want to encourage you to maybe shift or try to shift to a day shift instead of a night shift and see what else can happen. I don't know if it's possible, but that's really ideal. If that's not possible, then we definitely need to get a lot more sleep in your day in the 24-hour period to help you and to support your fertility. All right. Well, If you want more support like this, and actually deeper support to find the root cause of your fertility and get you a customized fertility plan to help you get the results that you deserve, then I want to invite you to apply to join my Hope Fertility Coaching Program. All you have to do is use the link in the description below, and if you qualify, you'll get the opportunity to speak to a real person on my team where we get to talk to you to find out if you're a good fit to join me and all the other hundreds of women in my Hope Coaching Program. All you have to do is use the link in the description below. All right, everyone. Remember, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already a subscriber, please make sure to subscribe. So hit that bell to subscribe and get notified when I put out another video for all of you. Until the next video, stay fertile.